The gospel reading today is from Luke chapter 24. You can follow along again in the New Testament on page 85 in the Bible or on the screen. But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they came to the tomb, taking the spices they had prepared. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they went in, they did not find the body. While they were perplexed about this, suddenly 2 men in dazzling clothes stood beside them. The women were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground, but the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, but has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still in Galilee. The Son of Man must be handed over to sinners and be crucified, and on the third day rise again." Then they remembered his words, and returning from the tomb, they told all this to the 11 and to all the rest. Now it was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary the mother of James, and the other women with them who told this to the apostles. But these words seemed to them an idle tale, and they did not believe them. But Peter got up and ran to the tomb. Stooping and looking in, he saw the linen cloths by themselves. Then he went home, amazed at what had happened.
This is again the proof that the women are better gender than men. And then I am not looking for the votes from the women. That's not why I'm saying this. But look, when Christ was crucified, everybody was scared. The Roman soldiers with the watchful eyes watching the Jerusalem on the occasion where Passover, every Jewish male gathered together in Jerusalem, some along with the family. What is Passover? Passover is the occasion where Israelites as slaves lived in Egypt over 440 years. And on the night before they escape, what we call Exodus, they ate Passover meal. Passover meal with the unleavened bread. That is the bread that with the more quality, it's not leavened, so that it satisfies you more and longer. That is the independence and escape from Egypt to the promised land. To memorize that, every Jewish male and a family gathered together in the city of Jerusalem. The occupying army, the Romans, wanted to make sure that everything Passover celebration will go smooth and without any unusual activity, any commotion. There Jesus came in on the top of donkey and say, "I am the King of Jews," and everybody laying their clothes on the path and welcoming this Messiah King. Roman emperor never appointed Jesus as Jewish king, so that he is a political treason. From the Sanhedrin religious perspective, he's a religious criminal by blaspheming Jehovah God. That's where Jesus was. And Jesus was crucified. The whole process of Monday through Friday till Christ was hung on the cross was because of these two reasons. One, blasphemy, and the other one is treason. And crucifixion was a terrible thing that the Roman, in a human history, was the only civilization that execute a criminal hanging on the cross until he died. And after death, nobody cares about the corpse, the dead body, until it collapses and is spoiled and laid on the street. Then the dogs will lick the dead body. That's the process. One, sampling the criminals. if you mess up with us, this is what you get. That's why they spread out 7,000 crosses when Spartacus was against the Rome and he lost the battle. 7,000 soldiers were crucified under Spartacus. Number two, shame. Not only shame, but also pain. When you're hung on the cross, it's not an instant death like bullet going through your head or heart, or cut your people beheaded, and the suffering will be over in a few seconds. But the cross, it takes at least 6 hours, losing blood, and the respiratory system failed, and your lung collapsed, and that's how the death happened. And Jesus went through that again as a criminal of religion and a criminal in prison. What is the most fearful thing that has to do with death? I've seen enough people dying in the hospital. I've done enough. Sometimes I feel that way. Funeral and memorial services for those who passed away. And sometimes I wonder what will be the most fearful thing with the death. What could that be? A lot of people take the suffering of dying process not as fearful as this one. That is, that by death you will not be part of the experience of tomorrow. You're dead so that you are not going to be part of the humanity experience in the future. One of the singers said that the most fearful thing with dying is that by doing that, you will not be the participating person in the future. What is it that you want to be participating? In Luke's gospel, these women went to the tomb. Now, that is the violation of Roman rule, that the criminal dead and buried in the tomb, in this case, laid in the tomb, you're not supposed to visit and do something, let alone with the fragrant oil and take care of the dead body to pay the respect. Who do you pay respect to? This criminal of treason and criminal of religion blasphemy? No male, no man disciples went and visit the tomb. But these two women, the Mary of Bethany, Mary, what we called Mary Magdalene, and the other Mary went and find out that Jesus' dead body wasn't there. Even if they were told that this thing will happen, Jesus will be crucified in pain and dead and rise up in 3 days. Come on, give us a break at that person coming back to life. These two women, as brave and courageous as they were, they went to the tomb with the fragrant oil to pay the respect not to the live person, but to the dead. Even as they heard what Jesus said, they concluded in their mind that Jesus died and still is dead. So that what we do is pay respect to him by taking care of the dead body with the fragrant oil. That's what Mary Magdalene and the other Mary did. Now, this is the point where I need to say that the resurrection of Christ is not something that you will try to prove scientifically. Give that up. It's not going to happen. Over 2,000 years ago, something happened, and there was a record, and there is a record of experience of the people so that they will try to prove scientifically whether Jesus came alive again or not. It is not matter of science. It's not matter of proving something. It is your confession. It is your confession that indeed I will say the ultimate despair of death is not going to be the end of God's creation to me and to you. It is a matter of confession that I believe in life even amongst the death and among all the experiences that disappoint me. It all points out the ultimate despair, that death will devour everything that I know. And the word come to us and say, confess that Christ lives. And if somebody asks me, prove, how do you know he lives? Where does he live? And then your answer is, he lives in my heart. Now, saying that, it has nothing to do with bringing in all the tools to prove the life of Christ in scientific way. It is your choice. You choose the death, or like the Old Testament, Micah said that I choose life today. It is a matter of your choice that as you witness all the death around you, the end of everything is death, and I am part of it. That will be your choice. The invitation to you is the confession. Confession that without seeing Christ alive again from the dead, you are able to confess by the grace of God that I believe in life. And in the midst of death experience every day, every decades in the human history, the death will be there, but I will not be the prisoner of the ultimate despair. So that will happen every day. My resurrection is not the ritual in the Bible or ritual in the old documentations, but it will be today my life experience that I confess that resurrection happens every day. In fact, the word resurrection is from Latin. The word resurrection means resurrection, meaning standing up again. That's what it means. You fought the fight of life. I understand some of the Buddhist scholars. In fact, the first book of Buddhist ancient books, Huayam, says that the life is like an ocean of suffering. And I want to escape from the ocean of suffering by emptying myself. So there's no self, there's no consciousness of who I am. That's the ultimate point where you reach, and you can be completely liberated from the ocean of suffering. I can understand that. I can understand the point of that. But the truth of the matter is that we are alive. We are under the fear of what is coming to an ultimate end, the death. And here's the invitation to you. It was a history, but it is a story at the same time. It is a history that the people witnessed in the past, but it is the story that is happening right now. Do your best. Try to dodge what is hurtful, what could be the sign of death, what could be the sign of despair. But I have to guarantee you that you will not be able to escape from those elements in the life to the point where we could experience the death itself while we are alive. At that moment, remember this invitation from the stories that you have heard today. from the gospel and from the Psalter. Make your decision that I am going to choose life. I am going to choose what Christ chose. That I will live a life with the full of victory, even over death. Who do you think you are? You can do it yourself? No. By the grace of God, the resurrection, standing up again, even if you're beat up really bad by life, will happen today to you. And that's the grace of God through the story of this wonderful Easter morning. Amen.